Hey guys, hope your day is going well. Now, it's not like I need any more plants or anything like that, but I have a new obsession. Part of what I love about having so many plants and getting new plants is learning about all of the cool things about them, the varieties, the care, all that kind of thing. And I have to admit, I've got a new obsession. These tropical plants are actually quite easy to care for if I'm understanding them correctly, but the lady's slipper orchid is what they're commonly known as. I'm gonna butcher the name of this particular genus of this plant, but this is my first one. I'm learning all about them, and I have to say that I am so far in love. I'm gonna give you guys a closer look at this plant right here and then tell you all about the care tips, how easy they are to care for, what you have to do, everything you need to know really. And yeah, join me on this crazy journey. I hope that I can find some more of these plants so that I can have a little bit of a collection of them maybe. Like I said, it's beginning to be a little bit of an obsession. Isn't this just amazing? So this is known as the Paphiopedilum Presidential allure. Like I said, these are kind of commonly known as ladies' slipper orchids, and that's in part because of this little pouch down here at the bottom. I guess kind of reminded somebody of a lady's slipper, and that's kind of where that common name comes from. But these plants and flowers are just absolutely stunning. I'm pretty sure this is a hybrid. The other cool thing about this is the mottled green leaves, which means even when it's not in bloom, it's just really pretty to look at. And yeah, there's kind of a lot going on, so let me share all the cool things about this plant. All right, guys, so before jumping into some of the more specific care details or just some of the amazing features and details about these slipper orchids, I just do want to really clearly state that some of these plants are endangered in the wild, and it's really important to just kind of know where you're buying them, who you're getting them from, and where they're sourced, just to make sure that you're not kind of, adding on to this endangered species issue that is just really kind of relevant and pertinent to not only plants, but a ton of stuff these days. So yeah, something to keep in mind. So once you've kind of figured that out, and you know that you're getting it from a reliable source, and yeah, then it's just all of the exciting stuff. So let's jump into that stuff now. Okay, so I mentioned their common name, lady slipper orchid, and I showed you guys this kind of like part of the plant that looks like a slipper, and this is actually kind of like a pouch where this plant can trap insects and that kind of thing. And so it's kind of reminiscent of a pitcher plant, and it's kind of hard to tell, but it's really, really cool. On this one, this is like the bright sort of burgundy, dark, deep purpley color part, and that's where it gets its common name. I think this is just really interesting and adds to the allure of and the drama of the flower of this plant. Now, what's really exciting to me is despite the tropical and very kind of cool looking flower and the mottled leaves and everything, despite all of that fancy kind of show that this plant puts on, these are actually pretty easy care plants in terms of light, water, and just general care, especially when you think of, generally how complicated some orchids can be. So in terms of like easy to care for and more complicated, these are definitely a lot easier, and that's really appealing to me and is one of a few reasons why I think this is going to become a little bit of an obsession. So let me just go through and explain to you what kind of light requirements, watering, and all of that stuff that these plants have. So let's start with light. These do not want any direct sunlight. They do best, with dapple light, and that's because these actually grow on the ground in the wild, unlike a lot of other orchids, which are epiphytes and will grow on trees and that kind of thing. So these are, can be found kind of like, I guess, in the forest floor or something like that. So they're used to and need that sort of dapple light with bits of shade, mostly shade, and little hits of direct sunlight, but you really want to kind of take it easy on the direct sunlight. Now, the other really cool thing, and part of what makes them easy care, is when it comes to watering. Now, if you're familiar with orchids and the little legs that they have, on these plants, they're a lot shorter, and that means if you're somebody who like overwaters or you haven't really got the watering down pat, you're not going to kill your lady slipper orchid off by basically overwatering it. But in terms of kind of ideal watering conditions, these plants really do best. You don't want to completely let them dry out. So depending on kind of the brightness of the indirect light that it's receiving and the soil composition, which should be kind of like perlite and kind of fine bark and like an orchid mixed kind of thing, probably going to want to water this in and around once every 7 days. I'm still learning, so we'll see how it goes, but I do keep this kind of close to the humidifier just to kind of give it that kind of moisture, and so that it's not really completely drying out. So to just summarize kind of what I described, these really are easy care plants because they can tolerate lower light conditions, and they'll also tolerate a little bit more water. So it just makes really the world of difference in terms of care, and they're just so pretty. All right, so as far as the temperature goes, there do seem to be kind of two main varieties, or you could group these types of orchids into two groups. The warmer one is what I'm kind of seeing it as, and a cooler one. The warmer ones that people describe them are the ones like the one I have here with the mottled leaves, and these require slightly warmer temperatures. But I've also kind of am discovering that these plants are very adaptable. So as long as you're keeping them away from drafts or any huge fluctuation in temperature, these plants really need, basically a little bit of a cooler night and a warmer day. But if you, live in the Northeast like I do, and your house is kind of in the 65 to 70 range during the day and slightly cooler at night, then these guys should be perfectly happy. I think probably the part that's a little bit more complicated is fertilizing your plant, and it seems like they do best with like a well-balanced diluted fertilizer throughout the winter months, and then something that's a little bit higher in nitrogen in the growing season. So different from, I guess, your typical kind of orchid fertilization regimen, which is also kind of refreshing in a way. Now, I can't stress enough how unique I find these blooms to be. They do, however, come in apparently a wide range of colors, especially with them being like hybridized and people kind of creating new varieties all the time, which I think is really cool. There's still a ton that I need to kind of figure out and learn about these, especially when it comes to repotting them. Now, it's advised to repot them on a yearly basis, but I'm starting to understand that there are, different components to the root system and some considerations that you need to make. So you know, some stuff to figure out on that end, but I think that's kind of not really a pressing issue considering that I just got mine and I don't think it needs to be repotted for a while. So I have a little bit of time to figure some of this information out. But have you guys ever seen one of these before? Have you heard of them? Are you just as obsessed as I am? Let me know in the comments down below. You know, let's see if I'm able to find any more. I found this at a kind of a local nursery that I love going to in Boston, and they did have, I think, maybe 3 or 4 varieties there. So I just started with this one. Now that I've looked into it, I realize that they are kind of a lot easier to care for than I first thought they may be. I might have to go back and get maybe 1 or 2 more. So we'll see what happens. I'm gonna take it slow. Like I said, I got a lot of plants going on, but definitely worth it with this. Like, look at this thing. All right, guys, so this is a vlog after all, and no vlog of mine would be complete without a little bit of a sneak peek of what's going on in my plant space. And first and foremost, top of my mind are my 14 varieties of amaryllis. A couple are coming through, one's in bloom. So let me share a quick peek at what's going on with all of these beautiful amaryllis. All right, guys, so most of them are in this stage where they're definitely coming through, but they've got some time before they are, you know, the stalks and the flowers have reached the height that they're gonna reach, and then the flower starts to open up. But as you can see, some of them are definitely growing. Magic Green is definitely getting there, and kind of same thing on this side, but La Paz has definitely come through. Totally stunning as far as I'm concerned. Definitely different from your typical kind of amaryllis flower, a lot like daintier and more delicate, but the reds and the kind of green is just stunning. So couple, well, 3 flowers and then a whole bunch of other stalks coming through on that. So really excited. I hope this one stays in bloom long enough for the others that are coming through, just so I can do a video with as many of them in flower as possible, which would be amazing.
Wake up and smell the roses. Try hard not to lose focus. There's too much to do. Reap what you sow.
Really happy to report that I am bringing back some of these ferns to life. They're definitely in a rough shape, but even this maidenhair is coming back. So really excited. Hey, hey. Lots of new growth on my Norfolk pine, which is very exciting. Anyways, that's gonna be it for me in this vlog. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to my channel. Miss you guys so much. Until the next one.